Hello, everyone. This is your host, Irsa Khalid, and welcome back to another episode of Conversation with a Diplomat by DiploTV. My dear fellows, in 1507, Catherine of Aragon, a young Spanish princess stranded in England after the death of her husband, who was appointed by her father as Spanish ambassador to England. She was not a queen yet, she had no formal power, but she had something more valuable: intelligence, fluency in five different languages, and a complete understanding of the code she was navigating. She became Europe's first known female ambassador in a world where diplomacy was entirely a means to mean, where women were expected to be silent partners in the background. A princess sat down in the negotiating table and held her own. That was over 500 years ago, and yet, even today, women hold on only 21% of ambassadorial posts globally. The door Catherine cracked open in 1507 is still slowly being pushed wider. Today, we are in the company of someone who walks through that door. Her Excellency Dr. Faryal Leghari, Ambassador of Pakistan to Turkmenistan. Greetings to you, Your Excellency.
Thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure being here. I've had the privilege of seeing some of your previous interviews with other female diplomats, especially, and I was very happy to see that. Thank you.
We're also honored to have you on this program. Thank you for your time. Viewers, let me tell you more about our esteemed guest. Dr. Faryal Leghari brings together the rare combination of diplomacy, research, academia, and journalism. She has built an exceptional career spanning international diplomacy, security studies, policy research, and media. She completed her PhD in political geography from the University of Oxford. Before joining the diplomatic service, she served in senior editorial positions at Gulf News and Khalid Times, worked as a security researcher and risk analyst, and contributed extensively to policy discussions on regional security, conflict, and international relations. She has authored and edited several books, presented research at leading international forums, and interviewed prominent world leaders and policymakers. Her work on Pakistan's borderlands, regional geopolitics, and human security has earned widespread recognition, making her one of Pakistan's distinguished voices in diplomacy and strategic affairs. Dr. Faryal Leghari, welcome to Diplo TV. It is a pleasure to have you with us. My first question to you is, please tell us about your personal journey, your early education, your upbringing, and how you are today in this diplomatic service.
Thank you so much again for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. And especially as I think it's important to get diplomatic voices, especially of the female diplomats across to a wide population. So I think that is a very commendable effort and initiative you have undertaken. So my personal journey has been quite convoluted. I would like to call myself an academic diplomat. I've had a very strong academic background, as you understand. I have gone back to the academia after working in the UAE for 10 years, where I was working in different capacities as a political security analyst. Then I joined two newspapers, English language, Khalid Times, and the Gulf News, where I worked on the opinion desk. I also had close contact with my country, my homeland, and I did a lot of stories and insightful analyses and programs and projects which were looking at security and development, because to negate the negative propaganda against Pakistan during those times. So it has been a journey in which every step I have consciously made efforts to project Pakistan positively, to show the good side of Pakistan, and to counter the anti-Pakistan narrative on different platforms. In my research, in my during presentations at conferences, and also during my stint in journalism. I'm not a journalist by studies. I'm not a journalist by nature, but I went into journalism And on the opinion desk, it was more of a research-oriented job. So I think I sat comfortably over there. But I always wanted to get back to studies, and I felt that Dubai, UAE was a very good place to be for a woman. I was on my own at that time. My family was in Pakistan. But I wanted to do more. So I decided to take a plunge, a leap of faith, I'd like to call it. And I applied to my first program at Oxford, which was for career diplomats, but they also admit a few non-career diplomats. So I was very fortunate and lucky that I got into Oxford's Foreign Service program, in which a lot of our people from Foreign Service have also been going and undertaking. And it's a very intense program, almost like a 1 year master's. So I was fortunate to be there. I knew I wanted to serve Pakistan in my humble capacity wherever I was. And I've already talked to you about my experiences in research, in my job as a journalist, as an opinion editor. So I was, maybe Allah was paving the ground for me to go ahead, and because God knows what's in the future, and one should always strive and do one's best, but Allah has other plans for you. So in a way, that was my stepping stone into diplomacy. But I would also like to add that in my capacity as a researcher, in the Gulf Research Center, where I initially joined after my master's in international conflict analysis. That was 2010 when I joined the GRC. I was also engaged in mediation, and I was also engaged in track to talks. And we were looking at Iran's nuclear diplomacy at that time, and I was involved in a lot of security related aspects. So that was also my initiation into diplomatic efforts, mediation, and all. So it was a very, I think I was just building up my background. So my journey, if you put it in a nutshell, I've been always driven. I've always been focused on education. I don't believe there's any age for education. I went back to studies after my marriage, and then I sadly I got a divorce. But as a single person, I was encouraged a lot by my late father, Sardar Faryal Leghari, who was also the former president of Pakistan. He was very encouraging for women's education, and he, in fact, encouraged me to go back to studies. And this is before I joined UAE as a researcher. I started working in the UAE. So my father helped me throughout, and he was very encouraging of my working abroad, of my getting further degrees. He passed away in 2010, and his being around and his passing away has been very major factors in shaping my career, in shaping my ambitions, in shaping my objectives. And also, they have been a sort of, I always feel that, I can feel him inside my heart, and I always carry his legacy with me. So that has been my driving spirit and my driving light, if I may say it. And of course, Allah's help, Allah's guidance, and this is where I've reached now, which I'm really grateful. I was given this opportunity. I completed my DPhil from Oxford in 2024. I graduated, and I was offered this diplomatic position, which is a big honor for me, because to represent Pakistan at the global level, especially on the diplomatic front, is a huge honor. So I'm really grateful, and I'm trying my best and serving in my humble capacity.
That's really inspiring. So when you joined you can say this position, what were the challenges for as being a non-career diplomat? What were the challenges which you had to face in the beginning?
There were quite a few challenges, to be honest. I came when I reached Ashgabat, which was exactly a year and a few weeks ago. I assumed office on June 13th, 2025, and the America attacked Iran. So the Iran war broke out. So I walked into the midst of a conflict in the neighborhood because Iran, Turkmenistan share borders. So I had to deal with an influx of evacuees from Iran, Pakistani nationals that had to be evacuated. There were many Pakistanis in Mashhad. So that was very challenging. So I was just thrown and you say you throw a babe into the water and it learns to swim. I was literally thrown into a crisis situation. But Alhamdulillah, it went very well. We managed to evacuate people, and Turkmenistan has a stringent visa policy. So we had to make sure that they were very helpful, being a host country and being at the border of Iran. They helped facilitate transit visas and helped us, the mission, and Pakistan as well as other missions here. So we managed to do that. That was one immediate, unexpected challenge, which I was not prepared for. I am not a career diplomat like you mentioned. So, and though I had studied diplomacy, and that program in Oxford is very good and very comprehensive, it trains you to write secret communications. It trains you how to write, to deal with administrative, financial issues, mediation efforts. It's a very comprehensive all round. But when it comes to practical life, and then you are tested. So I've had several challenges in managing the mission and looking into administrative affairs, in improving the mission, improving cultural outreach over here, social contacts, building further bridges with Turkmen people and officials. So that all have been, they all can be considered challenges.
What interests you beyond, academics and your professional life? What are your other interests?
Well, I love horse riding, and I was very happy to be in a country that
Yeah.
has one of the world's most beautiful horses, the Heltec. So, in a way, I was really happy to have been offered this position. I used to do a lot of riding. I used to even play polo. I also got the best women's polo award when I used to play polo in Pakistan in Lahore. So I was really happy to be here, though there's no polo here, but they're beautiful horses. And I have, however much my time, my profession allows me, I have been going for riding. So I'm very happy to be in a country that cherishes horses. And I was also happy to build new bridges between Pakistan, Turkmenistan in terms of equestrian cooperation. So we are working with the Ministry of Sports here and the Equestrian Federation, and we are planning on having some wonderful events here, showcasing Pakistani equestrian performances, especially tent pegging. And now I'm very happy to know that Pakistan has many equestrian tent peggers, females. So I would
Yeah.
like to arrange a visit for them and to host an event here at some point. So I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, this is wonderful to hear. Speaking of coincidence, as your hobby resonated with the country, that appreciates and loves horses, and horses is symbol of great admiration here. When you were a child, or I would say when you were a university student, maybe, have you ever wondered or imagined or wished to become a diplomat one day in your life?
To be honest, I always thought I'd get into politics because I come from a political background. And I was very involved with politics, even though we usually, the women in our family maintained parda, and we were not really, I was not going with my father to attend public events and gatherings as such, but I was very involved in the other behind the scenes political happenings, especially when my father was in the Pakistan People's Party and Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto was living abroad at that time. So giving party tickets, everything, I was used to help him as a child, and I remember that very clearly. So I always wanted to get into politics, but as I was growing up, I saw different faces of politics, which I felt that might not be according to my nature. I would not be able to be comfortable with it. And I always had an interest in international and global affairs, international relations and global politics, and especially geostrategic politics with energy. So I tended to tilt towards this side. And that's how I thought diplomacy is a fantastic field in which I can serve my country and also be part of international relations and be able to do well. So I feel this is my forte, this is my strength. And I have been working on an international level in several aspects. So I feel that this is one more step.
How this politics is different from bureaucracy or the other way around?
You can say that they're very entrenched, especially with our system. And bureaucrats, I think they enjoy continuity. But to be honest, bureaucrats in our country are the kingmakers, if you would like to call them. And they are making sure that the state runs smoothly. There are a lot of similarities and a lot of differences. They enjoy a cushion which politicians do not. And politicians have to work harder, I feel. Bureaucrats do work hard. I'm not negating that, but there is a big difference, a discernible difference.
So now you are in the country Turkmenistan. Tell us about your experience in Turkmenistan and what is unique about this country or which thing has mesmerized you a lot.
So when I came to Turkmenistan, I read up on it, I did some research. Being a researcher by nature, I had to look it up. And initial impressions, online impressions, they were very different to when I came. As I told you, I initially landed in the middle, at the start of a war, which luckily abated. But Turkmenistan is very different to the impressions, the negative impressions, and the negative narrative people have spun about it. There is a lot of, it's very peaceful. There is a lot of stability. Turkmenistan is a neutral country, so they adhere very strictly to the principle of neutrality. Though we are bordering Iran and Afghanistan, and they also have an Israeli embassy here, but they maintain neutrality. We also have a Palestinian embassy here. No country is, they do not encourage politics here, or, like normal representation of missions in other countries. So that is a big difference. Otherwise, I find it very peaceful, very welcoming. The officials are very welcoming. They have a different system to what Pakistan has and other countries, but this is my first experience in a Central Asian republic. And the negative prejudice about Turkmenistan being very isolated, being very closed, I feel that is not all true. There is, especially, I'm very happy to see the focus they have on heritage and culture, and the immense importance they give to women. Now, for me, that was a very welcoming fact because a lot of women in the high positions in government have been given a lot of authority to implement the government's projects, to take on very huge initiatives on their own, and they're implementing them very successfully. And you see women in all walks of life, and majority of women are the workers over here, even in the civil services and even in the public sector, down to municipality level, there are a lot of females. So I'm very, very happy to see that. And I feel that they have very focused on education. They provide a lot of free education to their citizens, to girls and boys, and they encourage them to be involved in a lot of creative projects like music and dance and performances and arts. So that's a very comprehensive education and training package they provide to their citizens. So that is a very good thing and something very encouraging. And I wish our education system would also entail more of creative initiatives alongside education for children.
Yeah, there should be inclusivity in our education system. You have spent 10 years in UAE and then you're now in Turkmenistan. Do you miss your country, Pakistan? And what is it which you miss most about it?
The biggest thing I miss about my country is not be able to go to my village, because I am very, very strongly connected to my village and my people. And if I whenever I'm in Pakistan, I would always go, especially after my father passed away. I would always go pay my respects at his resting place. And also, we have our holiday home in the Skohe Suleiman Mountains in Balochistan, bordering southern Punjab. So we would spend our summers there. So that's what I miss the most. And I miss good home cooked food, though I do cook and I have a Pakistani cook. Alhamdulillah. So I'm not deprived of Pakistani food, but and though when I was living in the UAE, you could get very good Pakistani food, but somehow it's not the same. I miss my family. My son is in Pakistan, so I miss him. I miss not being with them all the time.
Course. So, being a woman diplomat, tell us that how much important it is for especially girls, young girls, and women like you to step in this field, and how much is it is important that women do have a say in a very important, this is something, maintaining relationships with other countries, and a large chunk of the population is out of it. If I would say there are around 10 to 12 women diplomats who are representing Pakistan in the world. So, what are your thoughts about this matter?
So, actually, this field is ideal for people who want to represent Pakistan on the international level, who are interested in global affairs, and who want to be contributing to Pakistan's image making at a positive level on the global level. And there's much more to than just representing Pakistan at, having a good impression about Pakistan. It's also about learning new cultures, forging new contacts, and to project Pakistan in a very, very positive manner. My guidance, because this is my first posting and I'm a non-career diplomat, if I had a daughter, I would advise her to join the Foreign Service, because I think this is a very commendable field to get into. And I really wish I had joined the civil services when I could at a younger age. But Allah has given me this opportunity, so I'm very grateful. But my advice would be to, if they want to get into diplomacy, to join the Foreign Service the right age. And there is so much they can do. I went back to education at a very late age. And it was a strange experience. Though I was very excited to go back to university, it was also difficult because, okay, PhD level, it doesn't really matter. But at other degrees I had to study with people almost like quarter my age or half my age. And it was awkward, but nobody makes you feel unwelcome. It is awkward for a while, especially when you have to go to high table or dinners at the university and colleges, as is tradition in Oxford. So that was a bit strange at times, but I just told myself I'm there for a purpose. I'm there to complete my degree. And I've gotten into this place, so I need to complete it and to do well. And it was great. So, what my advice for young ladies, whether they are wanting to join diplomacy, that they should never stop and they should not stop dreaming. Like my dreams came true of higher degrees, of getting into Oxford after several rejections. And I just stayed true to my ground, and I stayed true to my dreams, and I kept trying and I got in. And I always dreamt of being a diplomat. So I'm very happy that I finally got the opportunity. One should never stop trying. That is my biggest advice. Don't let go of your dreams. And it's important to take a leap of faith sometimes. You should trust Allah. I have very, very strong belief that, and I have a very strong spiritual connection. And I believe that prayers and a connection with Allah always helps you. and you should seek guidance. So if you feel something is right and you should do it, you must do it. There's no harm in trying.
So, what was one thing that truly drives you, at that moment, especially? What clicked you that you should go for getting higher education and you should not stop here?
I've always had a passion for reading and books, and I remember when we used to have summer holidays, we had this huge bookshop on the Mall Road in Lahore called Ferozans. Unfortunately, I believe it's been shut down. So we used to look forward to one trip before summer holidays to buy books. And then we would, like I told you, go to the mountains in Balochistan and spend the whole summer there. So the only thing we did there was walks and a lot of reading. As children, we grew up on books. We were not allowed to watch television. Unfortunately, that whole thing has changed. So, one defining moment I cannot pinpoint, like you asked me, but pursuit of higher education, I feel masters is also not enough. A lot of people are very successful who don't do degrees, but I believe that degrees do help. And but more than degrees, more than a formal learning program, reading helps. So I used to read a lot and I love writing. So I write a lot. And I write poetry and I write short stories and all forms of fiction. So for me, writing and reading are very important. And whatever one specializes in, whatever one leans towards, whether it's arts or computer sciences or AI learning, you should just be very passionate about it, committed to it, and you should follow your dreams. So that led me to pursue higher studies because I was a pre-med student. I wanted to become a doctor. Unfortunately, I did not become a doctor, medical doctor, which was my biggest regret. But I decided to do a master's in English literature and language at Kinnaird College at that time, which really it was like I was indulging my passion, not really studying because I love reading so much. So that led me to pursue the master's after my son was born. That was in Lahore.
Okay. So in the end, I would ask you for an advice who are watching this interview and want to be successful in any manner. So, and also please leave a message for our platform as well, DiploTV.
Well, my message to, first of all, for the audience is that you are there to represent Pakistan. You are a Pakistani national. I'm addressing those who are from Pakistan. So, whatever your differences in politics, whatever your personal preferences about politicians, about practices in Pakistan, please don't malign your country because we are all representing Pakistan. And we are much better than a lot of other countries and a lot of other people. So I think we should stand unified and united, and we should learn from nations and people who, despite internal divisions, represent their country and fight to represent their country strong and hard on the international fora. I think that's very important. And never let go of your dreams. Take a leap of faith, like I said earlier, and pursue your dreams. And inshallah, you will get there. As for your platform is concerned, since you approached the embassy, I've had the pleasure of looking up at some of your previous interviews, and I learned so much from different diplomats. It was very good for you to project them and to have their voices, and the narrative is there, and it's important to learn so from my colleagues. So it is a very, very good learning opportunity as well, to learn, to get influenced, and to also be encouraged. So I'm very happy at this initiative you have undertaken, your platform, and I wish you all the best. And you also, I would suggest that at some point, I know Dr. Farhat Asif, and she is doing immense service to Pakistan, and I really commend her for her work. I would also suggest a training workshop to females, especially, and younger people, including men. in different aspects of diplomacy and public diplomacy, which I think they can represent their country at all levels. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind remarks. Especially, it was a wonderful conversation.